Hello, ladies, and welcome to Sister Friends Coffee, Tea, and Chat podcast. Every lady knows that there is nothing like a chat with a sister friend that will inspire the rest of your day. So get your coffee or your tea, pull up a chair, phone your bestie, and tell them Sister Friends Coffee, Tea, and Chat podcast is on the air. Now, welcome your host, our sister friend, Teresa Houston.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the podcast. If this is the first time you're joining in with us, I just want to give you a special shout out and say welcome to our sister friend community. I wanted to take this opportunity to just share my heart about the solidarity efforts that are happening around the world. Many of us have now viewed the now infamous video of the horrific demise of Mr. George Floyd, who unfortunately lost his life as a result of a police officer making the decision to keep his knee in Mr. Floyd's neck for over 8 minutes while cameras recorded the untimely demise of Mr. Floyd. It has awakened our African American community. It has enraged and absolutely taken a moment in history and turned it into a movement. I am so proud of all of my African American sisters and brothers who are fired up and will not stop until real change is realized in our country. I am elated to see how countries around the world have stood in solidarity to say with us, we stand with you, we are you. And not only should this behavior not be tolerated in America, it should not be tolerated in the world. And now is the time that a people have risen up to say, we will be one voice. But I want to just share in this podcast that although we have seen numerous solidarity efforts occurring, where it is obvious that my people are hurting and frustrated and angry, I want all people who are witnessing this hour in our history to understand that we simply have had enough and are now sick and tired of the status quo. There are some who appear to be trying to convince us that they are actually with us. But I'm not impressed by all the people who are standing alongside of us. Because some of you are protesting who still refuse to speak to us as you pass us by en route to the same protests. And we've been here before. This time our cry is louder and the results we seek are more profound. This time we're not moving until something shifts. And we do not need distractors who are walking alongside of us but are not truly with us. That is not what we need in this hour. To you who are willing to protest, but you're not willing to put your hands and feet to the real change that we are going to have to see in the weeks and months after the protest is over, I prefer you just stay at home. We're not interested in just 30 minutes or an hour of hype that doesn't produce doable, actionable after protest movements. We need people either with a plan, working a plan, or committed to work alongside those who have crafted out good, doable plans that awaits the necessary hands and feet needed to execute those plans. And if you are protesting, heading to a protest, or have already protested and you are not registered to vote, I need your next protest to be against you and people like you who are eligible but not registered to vote. Those are the people who stand for everything and vote for nothing. The most effective thing you can do in this moment is to get to your voter's registration office and get registered to vote. Those of you who are not registered to vote, I want you to realize that all you have right now is a vote that doesn't count. The most effective move that can be made to forge solidarity with any people is to make your vote count for the change solidarity endeavors to see in those who hold these elected offices that have been trusted by the people to make regulatory rules and guidelines fair for all. And if you are one of those who are registered to vote, and during the current or the last election was too tired or too busy or too lazy to get up out of bed, refusing to stand in line to get your vote counted, I need you to ask yourself, why are you committed to protest for an issue you aren't willing to vote to ensure doesn't remain an issue in our future? If this is you, and you do know that although you are standing in the middle of a protest, seemingly looking like you are with us, you really are not with us. You must understand that. Because after this, we need execution of what this protest and movement is really about. We don't need you to show up to be available for the media spotlights and to gather social media pics that says you were there. We need you as part of the solution. Make a plan, work a plan, intentionally plan to vote. I need you to vote in all elections. I know that there are people who feel that there are less significant voting times than others. But the truth is, regardless of the election period, the positions and persons that are voted into office have real authority and real power that affects the daily lives of those in our communities. We get to vote. We get to vote for city council members, school boards, commissioners, mayors, attorney generals, governors, congressional representatives, and the President of the United States. You need to vote. And we must encourage everyone we know to vote, register to vote. If you're in solidarity and you think it's defendable to suggest that because you have 2 Black friends on your social media that you are not racist, then I encourage you to use your social media to speak to your 2,000 other friends and ask them if they vote. And if that answer is in the affirmative, then ask them, where do they stand on the issues that are important to people, all people, and particularly the African American people? Because when they post hate and promote the values that are destructive and divisive, what I need you to do is protest that. That's a plan. Protest against them, black out their posts, and for God's sakes, stop forwarding foolery of people who are not ready to change. Even though some of us are forwarding things that we think are examples of what not to do, I encourage you to stop giving room to the ignorance. Let's ostracize that. Let's ostracize them until they wake up and get that their behavior is unacceptable, not only to my people, but to an entire human race. That's a plan. Say something when you see something. Scroll across your feed that you know hurts other people, that you endeavor to be in solidarity with. That's a plan. Put your hands to the work of solidarity. That's a plan. Many of my people struggle getting to the polls. They struggle with transportation to get to work. They struggle with finding decent jobs. They struggle to put food on the table. They struggle to get ahead. How about volunteering your efforts to offer rides to our seniors so that they can get to the polls and vote? How about offering your Black coworker a ride to work, since you observe them every morning getting off the bus as you are driving into the parking lot, cruising in your brand new car? That's a plan. How about volunteering in a food shelter for the homeless or the hungry? That's a plan. How about finding a way to inspire or encourage someone who doesn't look like you? That's a plan. How about getting involved with youth programs and mentor someone less fortunate than yourself? That's a plan. Connect with organizations that already have rock solid plans that aims to build our impoverished communities. That's a plan. But before you walk out your door thinking that you are embarking upon a solidarity effort, look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, what the heck is my plan? And if you don't have an answer to that question, just stay at home, because no matter what you intend, when you get to where you are going and decide that destroying our neighborhoods is all you could figure out to do, then you become complicit and compliant in our systematic problem, and it adds insult to the injuries that our people have endured too long. Our mothers and fathers need those grocery and merchandise stores that are being looted across the United States. Our sisters and brothers need those jobs that are being destroyed building by building, and our children need access to the services once occupied on streets and in buildings being burned down, causing businesses we need to be eradicated. This destruction in no way helps us figure out how to bring a job to our community, not take one. Figure out how to add stores to our community, not destroy the ones who were dedicated to be here and serve us. If there is nothing you can add that brings positivity or change, then leave us alone and stay your butt at home. Our elders told us we can do bad by ourselves. We don't need you for that. At the end of the day, the biggest contribution you can make is to vote. Vote in your local elections, vote in the primaries. But if you don't vote or won't vote, then you can stay out of the solidarity efforts, because you are not in solidarity. We need change. We need change, and we need people committed to be the change they want to see. One more person whose hands and feet don't align with their words means absolutely nothing. You want to help us? Help us. Help us to be able to one day not have to teach our Black sons that how they must respond when stopped by a police officer is significantly different than anyone else in the world. This is our regular teaching effort in our homes as we aim to increase the odds that our Black sons will get out of any police-initiated engagement alive, regardless of who's right or wrong, because there is absolutely no situation that a mother's mind can fathom how her unarmed Black son isn't returned home, but is sent to the morgue, where one last indignity is put upon him as someone cuts up what is left of his body to determine his cause of death, which is oftentimes videotaped for the average person to conclude that the cause of death is murder. Help us. Help us to be able to encourage our husbands and our fathers and our brothers who work hard, have invested in their education, yet still get passed over for less qualified persons because of the color of their skin, because you hire people who look like you solely because they look like you. Help us. Help us so that I don't have to attend another funeral for another one of my brothers that never believed his life expectancy would be much greater than his youthful demise. Help us. Help us by extending the conversation of our pain, frustration, and anger and confusion into your community. By being an advocate, tearing down the walls of misunderstanding and clarifying the message of hope for us all. Help us. Help us to illuminate light on the fact that most people can wear a hoodie and a ball cap, dress in all black, and walk down a dark street and no one pays any attention. But my people wearing any of the same. Talking on a cell phone, being stopped for a tail light, carrying Skittles, walking in the park, jogging in their own neighborhood, sleeping in their own bed, trying to change a lock on their own door, just sending their children out to play, complying with authorities, reaching for identification, or making any sudden unexpected movements are too often casualties in a racist climate that is perpetuated by leaders and persons in positions that were voted in. We need your help. Help us vote racism out. This is not the time to compare your pain to ours or infiltrate your situational comparisons, of which, by the way, we will not see similar or same. This is not the time to interject your agenda into ours. This is not the time to defend undefendable actions, thoughts, comments, beliefs, or people. This is not the time to just look like you are with us when you know you are not. This is the time for real change. You cannot stand up for those fighting injustice and support those who perpetuate that same injustice. So if you're in, be in. But if you're not, stay your behind at home, please. Thank you. This is my wisdom for today. I hope it blesses you, and I hope you share this post with someone that you know so that they can be blessed as well. I want all of my African American people to know that I am so proud of us in this moment. And those of you who are truly standing with us, we applaud you, we appreciate you, and we ask that you put your hands and feet to this movement after the protest is over to ensure that real change is realized in our time. My friends call me T. I want you to know that if words were hugs, you would be feeling one right now. To all of my sister friends, be blessed and never miss an opportunity to uplift another sister.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Sister Friends Coffee, Tea, and Chat podcast with your host, Sister Friend Teresa Houston. If you like our show, please encourage another sister friend and share our podcast link. Want to know more about our host? Check out www.teresahouston.com. We absolutely love hearing from our sister friends. Feel free to email us at sisterfriendschat@yahoo.com. Until next time, be blessed, sisters.